Please. Please, I can't breathe. Please, man. Please, somebody help me. Please, I can't breathe. Please, man. Please, somebody help me.
I can't breathe! 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 I can't breathe!
The United States of America. It takes pride in being the torch-bearer of democracy. It portrays itself as the champion of free society. America has appointed itself as the global cop. But what about America's own cops? It is the same country where a black man died with a white police officer kneeling on his neck for 8 minutes. George Floyd was killed on the 25th of May 2020. What was Floyd's supposed crime? He was suspected to have used a counterfeit $20 bill. But what seems to be his real crime is being born as a black man in America.
Please. Please, in the name of emergency. I can't breathe shit.
Bro, get up, get in the car, man.
I will.
Get up, get in the car.
I can't move.
I've been waiting the whole car, man. Get up, get in the car.
Mama.
Get up and get in the car right.
I can't.
I gave y'all the opportunity to get in, bro. I told you can't win.
My knee.
You can't
My neck.
win, man.
I'm through.
I know you didn't never, you didn't listen.
That's for me. My stomach hurts. My neck hurts. Everything hurts. Just water or something. Please. Please. I can't breathe all the time. Shut up. Kill me.
Let's get straight to the numbers now. Police in the United States are killing 3 people every day. 28% of those killed by the police are black. Black people are killed at higher rates than white people in 48 of the largest American cities, which means they are most marginalized and targeted when it comes to police killings. So what about accountability? The George Floyd murder led to a global protest movement and the conviction of the officers linked to that killing. But in America, 98.2% of the killings by the police result in absolutely no charges. 98.2% of them. So clearly, accountability is hard to come by. And not just that. Police in the United States are thrice more likely to fatally shoot a black man. The black homicide rate per 1 million is 6.6%. In contrast, the homicide rate of white people is just 2.5%. Which brings us to police killings in America. US police have killed 249 people this year as of the 24th of March. That is an average of around 3 deaths every day. Police have killed roughly 1,100 people every year since 2013. In 2021, officers killed 1,136 people, one of the deadliest years on record as far as police killings are concerned. George Floyd's killing was supposed to bring in some accountability, but reforms have clearly been a hit or miss since then. Instead, institutionalized racism, growing inequality, and fissures in American politics continue to plague the system. America preaches equality to the world, but practices racism and discrimination at home. Before it comments on other countries, the US should turn the torch towards itself. The myth of freedom in the land of the free has long been busted. Racism is not America's mistake, it is the original sin. Let's break this down further for you. With us on the broadcast this minute is Sam Fateh from Washington, D.C. He is a global affairs analyst. Sam, thanks very much for being here with us. What is your assessment of where things stand 2 years after the George Floyd killing, and what does that tell us about a country that likes to call itself the champion of democracy, likes to appoint itself as the global watchdog?
Well, I believe it's a clear case here, and it's very evident that despite the fact that Derek Chauvin has gone on trial, he was found guilty. That is one thing, is justice for one individual, but not completely. America still has a long way to go in order to ensure that there is accountability in the actions of the police. Congress is very divided over this, and there is nothing that Congress has done to ensure that the police departments across the United States are truly reformed. The president has tried to do something. He's been forced to use executive powers, but again, these powers are very limited, and the Justice Department is unable to do what it needs to do to hold local police departments accountable and cities accountable for the actions of their police officers across the country. So in all, there's a lot that America has to do to make things change.
Sam, I have to ask you this. We've seen on multiple occasions, the U.S. preaching to the world when it comes to the issue of human rights, questioning practices in other countries. When the situation back at home is questionable to this degree that we just put out, the figures are alarming. What is your reaction when you look at the U.S. Questioning other countries when the situation on its own soil is alarming to that extent?
I mean, it says why a lot of countries across the world do no longer accept or respect some of the criticism that is coming from the United States, because accountability starts with oneself. It starts within ourselves. So the United States must first hold itself accountable, including its local government. You go to U.S. jails here, they are overcrowded. I mean, the food is insufficient. It's terrible. It's even bad for human consumption. And then you want to hold other countries accountable. Then you lose the status of becoming a moral police. You will not have that moral authority or the right to tell another country what to do. It becomes absolutely very, very difficult. So at the end of the day, when the United States criticizes other countries over their human rights records, all the countries are hearing is, well, fix yourself first before you talk about us. I mean, you are masking this, but you are in a worse human rights situation than us. So you make ours apparent, but yours is not. And that is always their counter argument. And this is why also the United States doesn't feel that they do have the power or the ability really to ensure that when other countries violate human rights, that they are able to put sanctions and other measures against them. They take soft approaches like removing them. And these are mostly for poorer countries, very, very poor countries. They'll remove them from receiving certain types of foreign aid or receiving from the Millennium Challenge Corporation and Fund. And at the end of the day, most countries wouldn't care less, and then they would turn to China and they would turn to other countries from Africa, let's say in the Middle East, in order to get what they wouldn't get from the United States. So, but the U.S. must look within itself. Congress must be honest to itself. Our local politicians must be honest to themselves and reform these things. What needs to happen is the level of lobbying in the Capitol is very, very aggressive when it comes to holding the police accountable. And at the end of the day, we have seen where police have clearly committed crimes. They are even caught on videos, and they get away from not being prosecuted for these crimes. Now, here's why that is happening. In the case of George Floyd, it was all over the news. It has gone international, so there was a lot of attention to it. But there are thousands of other small police departments within America, especially in rural America, where things happen. People are getting killed, most especially Black people. People are being profiled, deliberately targeted, and nothing comes out of it. And because these ones do not happen to go viral, they quickly sweep it under the rug, and they are able to contain it. Most of these families are also very poor. They don't have the ability to go hire very good lawyers. They don't have the ability to get these things to go viral, or they don't understand what exactly they have to do. They are frustrated by the bureaucratic red tapes, and then they end up giving up and not having justice at all. These are some of just a few problems that we can highlight that are happening right now in order to prevent thorough accountability, reforms, and ensuring true justice for every victim.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.